Hey everybody, it's your girl Annette J. Morris, the owner and CEO of Go Getter LLC. Y'all know it's the vision at Go Getter LLC to help women identify their God-given gifts, convert that gift into a 5 to 7 figure income generating business that supports their lives and their legacies. Also, I'm your girl, your host for the Mind TV series. Y'all know the mind is moving in new directions. That's the acronym what mind means, right? And so every week, I bring y'all a bomb boss, whether it's a female or a male, that talks about their entrepreneurship journey and how their journey has helped their lives to move in new directions. So this week, it ain't nothing different. I just bought my sister this week. She not my blood sister, but she is my sister, my mastermind sister. She and I are in the same mastermind. We've been in the same mastermind. How long we been in the mastermind, Spring?
4 years
Oh, four
now.
years. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
We've been in the mastermind for 4 years. So without further ado, Spring, tell the people who you are.
Thank you for having me, Miss Annette. It is an honor to
Of
be
course.
on your show. So, my name, like she said, is Spring C. Jackson. I am a child care business owner. I am also a child care consultant. So, I help child care business owners to, in a nutshell, put their businesses on autopilot so that they can get back to the things that they got into business for in the first place. And that is having changing legacy, changing the trajectory of their family, building generational wealth. And if it's something as simple as going on more trips with family, buying the big house, buying the cars that they plan to, getting your dream car, fulfilling your dreams, then that's it. But what I do not want childcare business owners to continue to do is kill themselves in their business, putting hands on everything. The idea is to delegate and be able to sit back and enjoy the fruits of their labor.
Absolutely. Look up one of the keywords she said. Well, she said two keywords because y'all know how I feel about legacy. I talk about legacy all the time, right? So again, that's the mission of Go Getter. They help women to leverage their businesses to create, to live and leave a legacy, right? So that's really like our mission and the thing that we want to do. But another thing that Spring said is delegate, right?
Ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
We get so bogged down in business. Let's talk about that a little bit, right? And how important that is because one of the things that I know from personal experience is that when we start these businesses, and I talk about this often, a lot of times we start businesses as entrepreneurs because we say, look, I like the freedom and flexibility of entrepreneurship.
Yes, ma'am.
I get to work, whenever I want to work and make my own money and da da da. And then when we get into these businesses, we get so caught behind the laptop and bogged down in the business that we lose sight of the reason why we got here, which is for the freedom, right? We lose
Absolutely.
our freedom being stuck in the business. Talk about how important that is to delegate and
Um,
free up some of your time.
Absolutely. That is an absolute passion of mine. It has become a passion of mine because when I started my business, I literally gained about 60 pounds. Um,
Hmm.
in the first year and a half I was in business, not taking care of myself, slaving behind, like you said, behind the desk, hands on everything, in classrooms, putting out brush fires all over the building, doing all the things and not
Hmm.
delegating and creating systems that will
Hmm.
help you to put your business on autopilot. So
Hmm.
delegation has become my passion. I have stopped um, allowing my business to be my baby and
Hmm.
actually made it my mission to actually hire the people, trust the people that I hire, put systems in place, delegate the work. I am not a jack of all trades.
Hmm.
I am a master of this one.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I literally just need to know enough just to be dangerous
Yes.
and make it my business to delegate the things that I don't do as well to those that do it well. And so I'm now dubbing myself the master delegator because I do want to get back to the fun part of what I got into business for. I am a people and a words person, not
Uh-huh.
so much numbers and other things. Business tech, I'm not always so savvy, but
Yeah.
I'm learning and I'm getting better. But again, I just need to know enough to be dangerous so that I can make sure that the things that I need done are getting done by the people who do them best.
Absolutely. And so that's one of the things that I tell my clients. I talk about it myself or whatever. I've started hiring in my weakness, right? So what do I mean by hiring in my weakness?
Mhm.
I don't know everything. We can't possibly know everything, right? So we can't be the end all be all to our businesses. When I first started in business, I've been a full-time entrepreneur now for almost 12 years, but I was everything. I was the lead janitor, lead computer tech, lead, just the lead everything, just trying to
Oh,
do
that's right.
everything, right? Because I feel like, I could do all of this and da da da. And what you start experiencing is burnout, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Um, and I got to that point where as a therapist, like I almost experienced burnout. So I know that people that don't have like a therapeutic background can easily get to burnout and not realize like the symptoms as they are approaching it, right? And so, as you said, like the importance of delegating and realizing like you don't know everything, right? It's impossible for you to know everything, even when it's your own business. It's impossible for
Yeah,
you to know everything and do everything, right?
right.
You have to be able to delegate and hire people on your team. At what point did you get to the point where you started adding to your team and stop doing
Um,
everything yourself?
it actually came out of, like I say all the time, God got jokes.
Yeah.
So he it came out of absolute necessity. So I moved to Georgia because I am a child of eight of nine children, and we didn't grow up with the first six of our children or six of our
Mhm.
siblings. And so it was just a passion of mine to be all in the same area, in the same space. It's funny as ever because we all getting older, and it was just cute. Like we all thinking like, oh my goodness, this would have been so cute if we was young running up and down the
Yeah.
hanging out with each other all over the place. That would have been great. So
Yes.
I moved to Georgia and kind of shared some space for the last couple of years with my siblings. And it was not necessarily my intent to stay that long necessarily, but I did find that I would like to open up a daycare space in Georgia, and am still pursuing that. However, my mom got sick in the meantime, in between time, and it basically me being in that space and being away from the daycare and having systems and putting together that part of things enabled me to be able or able I was able to get to stay in Georgia, take care of my mom, do some other things, and delegate the work to the people that were here. And so um, it came out of sheer necessity at
Hmm.
first, but then
Hmm.
I literally was able to step back and see that I don't have to have my hands on every single little thing. I can let
Hmm.
the baby go and allow other people to be the nanny, so to speak. You know what
Correct.
I mean? And work in work remotely on
Hmm.
my daycare and continue to be the CEO and owner while the
Hmm.
daycare is in a whole nother state, and we're doing our thing and being able to still run it like it was supposed to be run. Still thrive, still grow, all the things, and me not be right here in the trenches. So I literally just had to let go.
Hmm.
I probably wouldn't have because,
Hmm.
me being me, a recovering perfectionist, I actually would have probably just been hands on trying to, like my daughter, who's my director, she thanks me now for um, stopping my micromanaging. She,
Yeah.
you
Uh-huh.
don't micromanage me as much as you used to. And I used to think it's my baby. I got to be that, that kind of thing. So I
Uh-huh.
just let it go and, was able to step back. And now I'm able to see how well that worked for me and
Hmm.
see how I can put together a program for other childcare owners to be able to do the same thing.
Okay, okay. Absolutely. So one of the things is I think it's a lot of our vanity, right? We feel like, oh, this ain't gonna function without us, right? So I think once we take like the emotional part out and the vanity out, feeling like none of this could happen without me, that type of thing or whatever, I think we will fare out a lot better as business owners, right? Because the goal ultimately is for this business to thrive and survive even without me, right?
Hmm.
Because if we're talking legacy, that means this needs to live beyond you.
Right.
So you can't be in the day to day and be the end all be all to the business if we talk in legacy because it's supposed to live
Absolutely.
beyond you, which means at some point it needs to live without you.
Yep, absolutely.
So yeah, if we're thinking legacy, we're thinking let's make sure this business is able to thrive without me being in the day to day operation, the hands on all of these other things. And my thing
Absolutely.
is, if we set up the SOPs and the policies and all the things that we need to set in place, then we won't have that to worry about, right? Train them, set the SOPs, the policies in place. train the people properly, and let the people do their work. You're gonna hire the people in their areas of expertise in their lanes anyway, right? So why not just trust them to do that?
Right. And my thing was, if I don't do it, then it's not gonna get done well. It's not gonna
Oh,
get
we
done
tell
like I would
look,
do.
I used to say it ain't gonna get done right if I don't do it. How you know?
Exactly.
How you know?
And I had to let go. I want to put a pin there too. I had to let go of the fact that if I don't do it, it won't get done well. And there's other ways to get things done. Now, I have a path to get it done, and I would lay it out exactly how I would do it because I'm an organized nut.
Hmm.
But some people operate in disorganized chaos, organized chaos, and that's their
Correct.
brain's function. And so
Hmm.
people think different, they learn different, we operate different. And it's
Hmm.
okay for people to do things different but come up with the same result. And so I learned that over time. I learned that as a manager at a hotel that I was working at, but then I was able to actually put it in place for me, and it kind of
Hmm.
dawned back on me like, girl, listen,
Hmm.
let people do what they do,
Yeah.
and as long as the end result is exactly what you needed it to be,
Hmm.
and then you
Hmm.
tweak things however you need to. Certain things do have to have a specific order in which they're done,
Correct.
but most
Correct.
things can get done by,
Hmm.
whatever method they come up with, as long as the end
Hmm.
result is what it needs to be.
Absolutely. And that's what I had to start telling myself, because sometimes we have to realize just because we've been doing a thing a certain way for so long does not mean that that's either the right way to do it, or it doesn't mean that that's the only way to do it, right? So
Yes,
we get to this, okay, 2 plus 2 is 4, but so is 1 plus 3, so it's 3 plus 1, so it's five
there you
minus one. You
go.
know what I mean? So
Yes, ma'am.
as long as you get like, and then like, one of the things that I'm realizing, like the younger people are able to get to certain things faster because they know how to use technology better than us and all
Yeah.
of this or whatever. And we so stuck in like, oh well, we used to doing it like this, and they're
Old
like,
school way.
yeah, you know. So I mean, sometimes we just have to kind of let go of the control freak side of ourselves, and
Yes.
as business owners and those type of things, and then be open to learning, right? Because
Yeah.
everybody can teach you something. Even
Yes.
the young people, the
And the
children
young
can
people
teach us
teach us
something.
stuff. Yes, the young people teach us things all the time. And
Hmm.
so, especially in that tech world.
Yes,
So, I am
yes,
open to the learning. And if you are a
absolutely.
lifelong learner, then, that's just so much better. If you're rigid and stuck in your ways, then the operative word there is stuck. And so you're
Yes.
going to be that way.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we have to be, as we are evolving as people, we have to learn to evolve with like whatever is surrounding us, right? Especially like technology. And then again, because we didn't grow up with technology, these young people did allow them to show us some things or whatever. Because a lot of things that we're doing it because we have been conditioned to do them this way, or
Mhm.
traditionally we've done them this way or whatever. But a lot of times they can actually teach us how to do things faster, more efficiently,
Yes.
those type of things or whatever. So as a business owner, it's just a note to the business owners:
Yes,
be
ma'am.
open to these millennials and these 20-year-olds that's trying to show us some ways of doing things faster, because they're born in a microwave age. Everything faster now. We
Yes, ma'am. Instant
everything got to get done
gratification.
fast. Yes.
Instant gratification. But in very many ways, the entrepreneur can benefit from that because that fast and efficient can get things done quicker. Where it would take us days. Like I literally, you see a pen in my hand. Just
Hmm.
as a rule, I
Yeah.
write things down. And so as
Yes.
you're talking, I'm writing little notes so that I can remember to come back and say different things.
Uh-huh.
Because listen, I'm 40 something. Mind your business.
Okay.
And so, but a millennial would have picked up their phone and wrote 17,000 little notes in here, look back at it. I don't even remember to
Yep.
look at the thing that much, but
At
that's,
all.
you know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
that's that efficiency that gets things done a lot more quicker. So,
Absolutely, yeah. Because spring. Look, I ain't talking about it because I'm a pen and paper girl too. Look, and that's the way that I comprehend. So I don't even like
me too.
when I'm writing a book, when I'm getting ready to publish a book, I have to physically write it on paper first, and then I transfer it to the
And
computer because
then
I can't get it out. And again, that's what we're stuck in. But
that's
I
just
know if
because
I
we
was
were
talking,
conditioned.
that's how we were raised, and that's how we adapted to that learning style, right? And
Hmm.
so like the younger people, they'll probably just type, because I had somebody ask me like, why you don't just type it up? I was like, because it don't sink into me until I write it.
No.
That's just who I am, right? So but yeah, so you started out with the daycare center. Y'all see us, she's sitting in a daycare center. I know y'all heard a little noise in the background, so that's the kids doing something back there. So she in the business, y'all. So with that freedom and flexibility of you not having to be hands-on and in the business involved every day, that gave you the opportunity to evolve as a business owner. So now you're doing consulting work, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
How did that come about? Like, what does that look like?
So I believe more of it came about because I joined the mastermind with you
Mm-hmm.
about 4 years ago. And so
Mm-hmm.
I love to write and
Mm-hmm.
I love books and I love to write. Now I can't comprehend doing books on tape. It's
The
not the same.
Audible.
I got, I mean, and I can, but I still have to, if I read a book and I listen to it, which goes a little faster, thank you,
Uh-huh.
technology, I still have to open the book. I love the
Yeah.
paper. I love to ruffle. I love the
Me
smell.
too, girl. I love, like,
So,
I have a ton of books on Audible, but I so much rather like flip a page, and that's me. I
and
girl,
you
look,
got
we the
tons of books
same.
on audio, but I promise you, I have to buy the book on Amazon and audio. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
literally do both. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I got really into this thing by tell me and do the question over. I'm sorry.
I
I
was saying,
had
like,
a
how did
brain
you
there.
get into it? Because I know the you were doing the daycare initially.
Consultant
Now
side of
you
things.
transition over into consulting, and you were saying how the mastermind has helped you to transition into like the consultant phase, in addition to the freedom and flexibility of being hands off from the actual daycare.
Absolutely. So I know where I was going with that thought. I apologize. I was in the mastermind. And so
Uh-huh.
I was about 5 months into the brick and mortar side of my business.
Uh-huh.
And all I knew was I had attended the conference the year before, green as ever, almost Fred Flintstone into Atlanta to get to that conference. When I tell you I was there on a wing and a prayer and a sandwich in a bag, listen. And
Uh-huh.
so the next year I showed up and was showed up in 2019 to Vegas. And I just knew that I needed that energy. I needed that environment. I needed to be amongst those people. Now,
Mhm.
I do think sometimes that I should have taken some more classes and some more things before I jumped face first in the mastermind. But
Mhm.
I jumped head first. I was like, look, I'm not losing this momentum. And so
Mhm.
I learned so many things. Um, when I tell you I was so green to everything business wise, I didn't know
Mhm.
that there was automation. I didn't know anything about marketing. I didn't know a whole heck of a lot of things. All I know
Mhm.
is I love little people and I can
Mhm.
rank all of them, handle some employees, and build rapport with families. And so
Mhm.
all of the business stuff is what I needed. And so
Mhm.
I got into the mastermind and was learning so much. So when I started, I was going to help people write their books in
Okay.
the mastermind because it was, that online space. Love to
Mhm.
write all that stuff. And so I that whole first year I was spinning my wheels like, what am I doing? And I'm like, girl, well, first of all, my mastermind, my master coach was like, girl, what are you doing? Like, don't negate the business.
It's such a loving way that she's able to do that.
Always, always. Like, girl, what are we doing? And so I I started working on the business for the first couple of years. And so the last couple of years, since I learned so much and I've evolved as a person, I've grown as a person, and learned quite a bit of, this back end of business. And so I was just like, well, why am I, going off the beaten path when I have a thing right here? I
Yes.
know childcare. Childcare is,
Mhm.
I know this and I know
Mhm.
well. So I said to myself, instead of doing, helping people write their books, which is another passion of mine, writing and reading and that kind of thing, I am going to expand to help childcare owners because I started to take a look at what I do and what I've done
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
what I didn't know when I got started. And so a lot of the things that I talk about on my podcast, a lot of the things that I do now are things that I didn't know that I needed as a business owner. I didn't
Mhm.
know that automation is a godsend
Mhm. Mhm.
from heaven
Mhm.
above. So much less work, so
Yes.
much, so much of that delegation,
Yeah.
um, putting together a team, putting together, like I have a VA now. I actually have two VAs now. One
Mhm.
for childcare, one for the consultant side of things. You know, it is amazing when you actually step back, glean from the people that are around you,
Mhm.
and put systems in place, put that team together and let go. Take your hands off of
Mhm.
everything and
Mhm.
let go and just be the CEO. and be okay
Absolutely.
with being, because at first I was not okay with being a CEO. I
Mhm.
literally created a business for myself because I lost my job,
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
knowing that this is my actual purpose. And I'm always supposed to be a CEO. I was
Mhm.
always supposed to be a business owner, and
Mhm.
just evolved into what it is that I was supposed to be doing out of happenstance, out of necessity, and that kind of stuff. And again, I always say God got jokes, but He knew exactly what I needed and what I
Yep.
needed to be doing and how to set me on my right path. And
Mhm.
so this is an absolute passion of mine. I love people. I love doing what I do, and it's just
Yeah.
it's just a wonderful thing to have
Mhm.
evolved in over the last 4 years, and
Mhm.
gone from brick and mortar, which I will stay with and I will franchise, but also be able to help other business owners do what
Mhm.
it is that they do, and kind of cut across the field. They don't have to work as
Mhm.
hard. They don't have to go through all of
Correct.
the things that I went through,
Mhm.
because I am able and willing to share that information. And then, of course, the benefit for me is to be able to monetize that.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, like as a coach, you're actually helping your clients to avoid the pitfalls because you are the blueprint, right? So I'm able to tell you, if you make this left right here, you're gonna run into this wall. This wall is really hard. I don't encourage that. Now, if you insist on running into it, like I'm not gonna fight you or nothing, but I am telling you like that's a brick wall not to do it, right? And most
Exactly.
of our clients will listen to us and be like, I ain't doing that foolishness. You know what I mean? So we
Right.
able to help them to get to their success a lot quicker because we made all the mistakes so they don't have to.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what I tell my clients, even as far as like my nonprofit development clients, all this or whatever. I went through all of the ups and downs with developing my nonprofit almost 15 years ago. So I know the pitfalls in this. Let me help y'all to avoid that or whatever, right? So
Right.
just a lot of stuff that we're able to do because of all the mistakes that we're made is very advantageous to the clients that we actually work with, all these other things or whatever. As far as like the consulting side, I know the consulting side pays more than the actual daycare, right? Because you're able to charge more like hourly, all these type things as
Right.
a result of it. So with like the difference in revenue and everything, how has that been able to like change your life and the things that you're able to do now as opposed to like, your upbringing? I heard you say like you're one of 8 siblings.
Mhm.
You all were separated or whatever. How has that like this made a difference? Entrepreneurship made a difference in your life and helping it to look differently.
So entrepreneurship has really been a blessing for me
Mhm.
and my family, because again, it has allowed me to be able to move about the country. And that's one of my goals, is to always be able to move about the country
Mhm.
and go to different places and experience different things. And I've been able to do that a lot more in the
Mhm.
last at least 3 years.
Mhm.
Um, where I've been intentional about making
Mhm.
sure that I do that. And because I always knew that I wanted to travel, be a traveler, that kind of stuff, and
Mhm.
see the world. I really kind of have um, a soft spot for those people that never get out of a neighborhood. They
Mhm.
only see maybe 10-block radius.
Mhm.
They born there, they grew up there, they lived there, they died there. And that
Yeah.
is sad to me. That
Mhm.
saddens me that there are people in the world that really never get to see the rest of the world. And
Yes.
I am bound and determined to see the majority of the world, as much of the world. This is a big, pretty earth that God
Very.
made. And
Yes.
when I tell you there's so many gorgeous nooks and crannies of this earth, and I want to explore as many as I can before I close my
Mhm.
eyes the last time.
Absolutely.
Um, and so it has changed in that way. I've been able to do some of the things that I have had, laying in the bed as a little girl, wanting to see the world and explore things and do things, and wanting to be different than how I grew up. And I mean, I was always that different child that wanted more, um, needed more. Always thought I would be rubbing elbows with the rich and famous. I don't know why that was always a thought of mine, but I was supposed to be a star or something.
So
Um,
and you are now. So period. It's
Absolutely
real.
right. Okay, and so it literally it's how I've always thought, and so it's allowed me to be some of who I am, continue to evolve into the woman that I've always wanted to be, that I'm continuing to become, should I say,
Uh huh.
uh, because people out there don't get to see a lot of anything. And
Yeah.
so they're so, let me say it this way. I grew up in a way that we were great talkers. We were great
Mhm.
talkers. My grandmother could talk her way in and out of everything. And
Mhm.
she had the gift of gab and a talking and a this and that. And so I grew up watching them being fancy and bougie and all that little stuff. We are still hood as ever
Okay.
and bougie as we could be. But that was always a problem for me because
Uh-huh.
we did a lot of talking, but we never got to the actual bag. And
Yeah.
so it always was a keeping up with the Joneses, keeping up the appearances. I watched my grandmother and my mom and them wearing leather and fur and minks and this and that and fine
Mhm.
and fancy. I mean, because they some little cute little yellow bones, little red
Uh-huh.
and stuff. So they was always these pretty girls. And I thought to myself, well, that's great, but I didn't have no way to do better than that.
Yeah.
So
Uh-huh.
I want mine to be able to do better than that.
Better. Yeah.
Not just obtain the
Mhm.
things that make you look wealthy, but
Yeah. I want to be wealthy.
to the
Mhm.
wealth,
Yeah.
leave
Mhm.
the legacy, and
Mhm.
actually do generational wealth building. And so
Yeah.
that is so much more of my passion. So being able to be an entrepreneur
Mhm.
and have more income at my disposal and
Mhm.
learning more about credit and business credit and investing and those types of things that they wasn't even almost teaching that.
On it at
But thank
all.
you
At
to this
all.
younger generation that
Mhm.
have allowed us to let us in to be
Mhm.
able to get the information, because if you want it, it's there.
Is there. Absolutely.
And so that's
Absolutely.
what being an entrepreneur has enabled me to do, to be able to not
Awesome.
only move about the country, but build some legacy and leave some generational wealth for the next generation.
Absolutely. That is so awesome. Well, Spring, tell the people how they can get in touch with you, how they can follow you, because if you are interested in doing a daycare center, but doing it as a business in order to leave a legacy for your kids, your children, your grandchildren, whatever it is, Spring can actually help you to set it up, but set it up in such a way that you are not bogged down with the children every day, but running it as an effective business so that it is free of you, right? So you want to stay in touch with Spring if that is one of your interests and one of your passions, but tell them how they can follow you, Spring, and how they can stay connected.
So I am Spring C. Jackson on almost every platform there is. So I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I am on LinkedIn, I am on Pinterest and Twitter, and I am a TikToker. So I am Spring C. Jackson on TikTok as well. I'm not doing no
Okay.
dancing now. I'm not doing no dancing.
You
But
don't do none of the dances like the Churby?
I can't with the I can't get
You gonna do the
it's
chair dance?
listen, that's what I'm doing. Wait till I lose
Okay.
about that 50 or 60 pounds back.
Okay. Okay.
I'm be
Well,
ready
let's
to
get
break it
it.
out, but not until. So
Not oversold, huh?
yes, TikTok is for the younger generation, but we
Okay.
breaking into their stuff too on that one. So
Yeah, we just gonna talk on TikTok. We ain't about to break out and do all the dances y'all do.
exactly.
Y'all can have it. Well, Spring, I so appreciate you for joining us this week. I appreciate you, my girl. The audience appreciates you definitely, especially learning that the daycare industry can not only just be a daycare, but you can actually do this as a thriving business to leave to your children and your grandchildren and leave a great legacy for your family. So we appreciate you for joining us on the Mind TV series this week. You all know what it is. Next week, same time, same place. You all join us. I am going to bring another bomb entrepreneur next week that's going to talk about their journey of entrepreneurship and how entrepreneurship has helped their life to move in new directions. So until next week, bye, y'all.
Welcome to Go Getter University. It's the home and a one-stop for entrepreneurs teaching all things entrepreneurship. We have courses ranging from how to start a business, how to start a nonprofit organization, to how to generate your first 10K consistent month, on to grant writing. Anything that you want to learn about entrepreneurship, it is in Go Getter University. Follow us at www.goalgetteruniversity.com to register.